Hi, I'm Sarah Wilder, and this is part 11 of Surviving the Man I Married. In part 10, we covered a lot. I spoke about my first tarot reading and what an incredibly validating experience it was, about my brief stay in a mental hospital and the things that led up to it. And in this episode, you'll hear about Jim's phony breakdown and another reading with Peter from September 2019. Moving Day Fiasco. So, less than 2 weeks after I got out of my stay in a mental hospital, our entire house in Saratoga Springs was packed up, loaded into trucks, and stored in the moving yard overnight, while Jim and I and our three dogs slept in the trailer. In the morning, Jim hauled our trailer further west to Eagle Mountain, where we stored it in a secure yard, while the dogs and I, with the movers, headed east to the townhome in American Fork. Initially, things went smoothly, perfectly to plan, but shortly after Jim arrived, guess what? Everything ground to a halt. He came upstairs, entered my work area, sat down on the edge of a still wrapped mattress that crinkled loudly beneath him, and as soon as he began to speak, his efforts quickly dissolved into a complete meltdown. I ignored it. Initially, I thought it's just another performance, so I continued my work, only half listening. His distress continued, though. It escalated, so I turned around and I looked into his face. I saw he was hysterical and sobbing incoherently, expressing what I made out to be feelings of fear and despair over our impending divorce. However, his words lacked three things he owed me. Any narcissist finds these same three things kryptonite: transparency, accountability, and remorse. So I turned around and continued to work, but it was clear he was unmanageable. So I called our family doctor and got a room ready for him. And back in the car we went, 45 minutes west to Eagle Mountain. After that visit, Jim was sent home with 4 new medications. One probably phony breakdown, 4 medications. I have one serious breakdown, spent 7 days in a mental hospital, and I get this many medications. One. Gender disparity in mental health care in Utah is alive and well, ladies. Alive and well, along with a lot of other discriminatory practices. So once again, Jim's response to a highly stressful circumstance placed us amid a disconcerting parent-child dynamic. Meanwhile, 3 hours were drained from my life, and also from 3 movers who sat at my house with my 3 dogs at $150 an hour. They were so patient. Okay, on to one more note before I get to the reading. There was something in our home, a dark, thick, cloudy, sooty shadow figure. The kids had named it the cowboy because they could feel it, one or two could see it, the dog could see it, and Jim could see it. It was so named because the silhouette the shadow figure took. It was tall and lanky and had a distinct cowboy hat on his head. Also, this presence was like malevolent, dark. I couldn't see it, I could sense it and feel it, and it was not good. At the time, we didn't know that it was a low vibration entity that belonged to Jim since childhood. And yeah, it was bad news. Anytime it was present, Jim changed. He looked and acted strangely. His eyes went dark with big pupils. His voice became high pitched. He took on a nasty, disrespectful tone and a belligerent attitude. He used insulting, even hateful speech, like criticizing my appearance or that of others, and just other really sharp cutting things. And the dog could sense it and also just hated him. So here's for the next reading where this topic comes up and we talk about it a little. So I wanted you to know what the hell the cowboy was. September 2019 with Peter. As with each session, Peter took a few minutes to meditate and connect with Spirit before announcing who stepped forward first. It's my dad who started us off, and he sweetly acknowledged some artificial floral arrangements I'd recently made for the new townhome, and he shared that he agreed it's been a great de-stressing activity for me. So I'm trying to do better and take good advice. So my higher self gently shifted gears. She brought me a great deal of much needed relief. She spoke in detail about the huge amount of fear that I'd been feeling about walking away from my marriage because I was still mainly motivated to go through with the divorce, more by feelings of obligation and expectation rather than truly believing it was time to go. Pause here. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I believe that? What more do I need to hear for it to sink in that the marriage isn't just dead and gone? It's not just decaying. It's not even ashes to ashes. It has moved on to a fat pile of 35-year-old dust. From the highest source possible, I repeatedly hear the same message. So, what's the holdup? Well, from where I sit now, it's denial. But back then, every reading from this one on talks about my denial and how problematic it is. Frequently, we're our own worst enemy. Okay, back to the reading. She said that I was not ready to surrender, to allow myself space, and to take time, not to act until it's something I want, that I'm hopeful about. Then she stated that she had no guidance to offer me at that time, but she wanted to talk about my mom. Before that, my dad stepped forward again, joined by my higher self. They spoke about the stagnant, negative energy in my home. Dad said, even though I'll find it a hard thing to do, I should move out of the townhome immediately because the energy is holding both Jim and myself back. They recommended I bring in a shaman to clear the house and added a bonus. If Jim were present, it would cleanse his bad energy too. That's some shaman. At this point, I asked if the bad energy originated from Jim or did it come with that house? Because we'd only, at this point, lived there about 2 weeks. I'm told by my higher self that it was created in the house after we moved in. She added that if I move out of the house and into a space of my own, and this is kind of important, it turns out to be extremely impactful, I'll be able to see things clearly. I will emerge from a kind of fog, a daze that I've been in for a long, long time. She continued, explaining that the moment I break free and reclaim my senses, brought about by an epiphany, I'll make a plan and know what steps to take next. And this comes to pass in June of 2022 in a big, big way. She reminded me that all of my previous plans to leave Jim have always been stymied. In my newfound freedom, I need to live alone because I need space. I need space to heal, a place of peaceful retreat. Bringing it back to the present, my higher self spoke of how I was in limbo. On one side, Jim had been begging and pleading with me not to divorce him. And I was considering also, still in my mother heart, that he was the first victim long before me as a tiny child. I couldn't let go of that. That was really strongly something that influenced my reticence. On the other side, I felt so uncomfortable and so angry. My higher self said for me to use this time for reflection and for dreaming. I'm told that once I leave Jim for good, I'll travel a lot with my kids and grandkids to see places I've always wanted to see. After mentioning some specific locations, I'm also told that I'll get to a place in my life of total freedom, singlehood, and yes, I will see the world. My mom finally stepped forward, and that was the longest it had ever taken for her to enter the conversation. She opened up with how she wanted me to put away my wigs, stop wearing them, because when I do, it's like I'm in character. Instead, she implored me to authentically be myself, and my higher self agreed. Mom encouraged me to take up art classes and continue to develop my artistic talents. Then she revealed that she stays with me at night because she knows that's when I get especially lonely, that she wished she could read me a bedtime story and have breakfast ready in the morning. Then she interjected a joke about my dad's infamously crispy bacon, which she claimed was carcinogenic, and it absolutely was. But he cooked breakfast every weekend, all of our lives, until he was no longer able to. Good family memory there, a lot of burnt food. On a more serious note, Mom made an admission that when I was young, she didn't know how to express love and appreciation for me. She also made the comparison of how I used to be free-spirited and wild, which she admired. But since I've been with Jim, I've become inhibited and fearful. She wanted me to love myself more than anyone else and divulged her compassion for what I've been going through. Surprisingly, she also revealed that my dad had similar character traits to Jim, particularly the controlling parts, but that she now loves Dad for who he truly is in heaven, his authentic self. That's so cool to hear because I know they're finally done bickering. They had been married for 58 years, and no one ever witnessed a day where they didn't bicker on some level. So, Mom closed out my portion of the reading by acknowledging our mutual love of Christmas and how she missed sharing that time of year with me. And the remainder of this reading was directed toward Rachel. So, it was a very soft reading for me. I'd gone through some really horrible stuff the previous month, and they were gentle and loving. I want to thank you for listening. And please stay tuned for episode 12 when I share some after the reading stuff and the next psychic reading with Peter from February 2020. If you want to know more, please remember to like, follow, and share to take my story one step closer to publication. And I want to thank those of you who are doing it because I see it and I appreciate it. And ladies, I invite you to step out of the darkness and into your power.